Do robots put you into a panic? Is ChatGPT haunting your dreams? In today's episode, we're discussing the possibility of AI killing the entertainment industry.
Can I have some more tea?
Welcome to the Reimagine Entertainment podcast, where I'm just a guy trying to learn how to start an entertainment company. Anyways, I'm your host, Josiah Wright, and let's get started. Is AI killing the entertainment industry? We're going to find out. So currently AI is being used in some different ways. It's still in its infancy. We don't really know a lot of what it can do in the future. It's constantly changing the landscape as far as what AI is able to do. But we see AI being able to create music. There's services that allow you to do that. There's AI for creating images, which obviously that's a lot more popular if you look at like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion. And it's being used in films. It's being used in all sorts of stuff, and even behind the scenes stuff where we're seeing AI being used to create 3D models now, and it's crazy how it's expanding. One example that I was just looking at was from Netflix. There was a TV show, and this is a kind of old news, but called A Boy, or the Dog and the Boy, which was partially generated by AI. The AI was used to generate the backgrounds. Now, it's not exactly generating like you would think of, like from Midjourney or Stable Diffusion. They actually drew the backgrounds and then ran those images into an AI, which then finished them. Now, I know a lot of people have a lot of feelings about this, but this is an example of a current use case for AI. And we're going to continue to see more and more of this happen. Because, and when it comes down to it, and this is the reason why Netflix Japan decided to do this, was they didn't have the money to pay for the artists. It's just kind of the way it is, especially in shrinking markets like manga studios or with animators, especially 2D animation. There's not always the funds there to hire a bunch of people. And so Netflix Japan decided to save some of that money, invest it someplace else, and they could get these backgrounds done for way cheaper. And this is an advantage. It really is. It improves efficiency. It helps the company to be able to do more things than they would have been able to before. And yeah, it's sad because a couple of people weren't hired to take care of these backgrounds, but man, it's going to change the future of this landscape. Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit more too in just a little bit. But just being able to complete tasks faster is a big deal. If you can take and write a script in half of the time through using an AI bot like ChatGPT or GPT-4 or whatever, you can completely change how you're doing stuff. And there are those that would say, well, that's not pure art. You're not writing it. And I kind of disagree in some ways. The reality is, you're not writing every single letter and every single word, but you are the one who is shaping all of that. It's kind of more akin to a sculptor who has to take a hunk of material and they have to shave away everything to find what's on the inside. Does that mean that the sculptor didn't create what it did? Of course the sculptor created that. And I think that AI in the entertainment industry is going to look a lot more like this. It's going to be more like being the director and telling the AI what to do. And this can really also boost creativity. How many times do you get writer's block, or you just have no ideas, and you're not in a time frame where you can collaborate with somebody else? Sometimes being able to collaborate with an AI is just what you need for a moment. Wherever the ideas come from, doesn't matter. If you're coming up with creative ideas, you're coming up with creative ideas. And AI isn't able to, it's not smart enough to just spit something out that's going to be a finished product. That's just the reality of things. It always has to go through a process. And so I think we're going to see a lot more of that coming up in the future. But really quick, before we get into the rest of today's episode, I'm excited to announce that we're launching this podcast as a video podcast on YouTube. You could be watching it right now. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and catch all the latest episodes. And on another note, I also have an upcoming song release at the beginning of May called Can't Help But Dance. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm also a music artist. This song is very personal to me. It reflects my journey back to Jesus after years of partying and drug use and just being far away. It's a reminder that no matter what we've been through, we can always find our way back to the light, and that God will free us from the things that weigh us down. So keep an eye out for Can't Help But Dance in May, and thanks again for your support. So let's talk about the potential impact that AI is going to have on the entertainment industry in the future. We're going to talk about the ways that it could change things and challenges that may arise. It's going to change things. The process of things is going to change. And I was reading an article by a Disney animator. Really, it wasn't an article. It was a video that was turned into an article. But he was talking about, the future of AI inside of entertainment. And his perspective is a lot like mine is. I don't think AI is going to replace humans. I don't think that it can replace the creative role that a human takes inside of a production. And so it's so important for us to not get caught up in all the fear and the anxiety about, it's going to steal jobs. It's taking away market. I don't think it will. I think that this AI technology that's coming out is going to expand the entertainment industry in some really big ways. It's not going to destroy everything. I really don't think that. And when it comes down to it, yeah, there are going to be challenges. Yeah, things are going to change. But if we're smart and we're on top of it, we can really do some really awesome stuff. I'm really excited because I think that this is going to lead to the expansion of a bunch of smaller, potentially independent studios that are creating film, that are creating animation, that are creating music. And a lot of these tools are still in their infancy, so you can't really do a lot with them right now. You have to go through a lot of work to do stuff with them. But this is going to change things. The cost for entry into this industry is going to drop dramatically. Like I was saying with the Netflix example and the backgrounds, they were able to bring down cost. Well, think about what that's going to do for independent studios. That means that we're going to have a whole bunch of independent studios popping up, and these animators that, may lose their jobs, these people that, they're kind of losing their position because the AI is coming in and able to do it way faster. They're able to step into a different role if they can jump on board, and they can advance in a whole different way. This reminds me a lot of back, a couple of decades ago, and even now we're going through this influx of independent music artists like me who are creating music at home. And this was never a possibility before. The technology was only in recording studios. And so if you wanted to record a track, you had to go to a recording studio. And then that began to change when people could record in the home, but you still were limited to your audience. The only people that had access to the audiences were the major retailers. And now that's changed because the technology of the internet has completely changed how we listen to music. And so now you've got all of these independent artists that are out there, and you can get music anywhere, so many different kinds of music everywhere. And this reminds me a lot of what we're seeing with AI right now. I think we're going to see a massive boost in this industry, and that there's going to be way more opportunities for smaller production companies, small entertainment companies to be able to create stuff that people love. And yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be kind of a decentralization in some ways of some of the large entertainment companies, like Disney and Universal Studio Group and some of these other guys, Netflix, that, are kind of at the center of the industry, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. But I think we're going to see way more independent creators rising to the top. And this is going to be awesome, guys. Right now, we're stuck in this loop of, entertainment executives that say yes or no to different projects. And as we're able to start seeing more of these production companies pop up, things are going to change. We're going to hear way more stories than we ever heard before. It's going to be awesome. And yes, there are going to be challenges. People are going to have to adapt. Back when 3D art started coming into play a lot of 2D artists had, they lost their role because 2D art stopped being a thing for the most part. And there were some of the guys that decided to learn how to do the 3D stuff, stopped feeling sorry for themselves and started learning how to do 3D stuff, and were able to go to the top of the pack because they had so much of a better understanding of animation. So I think there's going to be a place for everybody in this coming change, but things are going to change. And that's okay. Change can mean good things. You saw a lot of electronic stuff that instruments and whatnot that became really popular in the 80s, and it changed and defined the sound of the 80s. And now we love that, right? We love to look back at that because it's so unique to itself. And I think we're going to see the same thing happen here. Now, I understand there's ethical concerns with how different AI bots are trained and everything, and I think it needs to be done right. One of the things that I think that a lot of artists need to do is find their niche in the market. They need to find what they can do. And, we're seeing all of this AI stuff come out. Actually, I was just looking at something the other day. It was talking about nerfs, and don't ask me to tell you what that means. I can't remember. But it is a technology that uses AI to convert two-dimensional photos or a video into a 3D space and 3D objects. And man, oh man. And I'm not even going to go into like stable diffusion and all of that stuff. But if you could pay an artist to create a very intricate turnaround of a character from every angle inside of an outfit, or not in an outfit, whatever you choose to do, and you pay this artist to draw, 30 photos or 50 photos, or, not photos, drawings of this character from every possible angle that you would look at that character from, and then put it into this Nerf software created by NVIDIA, it can literally create a 3D model in seconds. And that is crazy. That means we could start seeing these amazing characters that are being drawn by an artist brought into a 3D environment, and then we can use it to create entertainment stuff, whether that's game or an animated show or whatever. And so there's possibilities. We just got to be able to see where those possibilities are. And as artists, we have to be creative. That's what we're supposed to do. And so I want to encourage you guys, in the midst of all of this change with AI and everything, we got to learn how to use these tools. They're out of the box now. And yes, we do need to be careful. There needs to be safeguards put in place. We need to be good people with these tools, but they are there. And we got to learn how to use them so that we can continue to do what we want to do. And for me, the most important thing is telling stories. Yes, beautiful art is important. Yes, all of that is important. It all contributes, but it all contributes to telling beautiful stories. All right, guys, so the Reimagine Entertainment podcast is brought to you by Wright Bros Studios. Thank you for joining me in this week's episode. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify and YouTube, and join me on this journey to learn more about the industry as I start my own entertainment studio. Keep creating, guys.